What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the SPY, the NASDAQ, the QQQs, and the futures, break down what's going on with the overall stock market, what you should be watching for tomorrow, and answer the question, will the squeeze continue for tomorrow? Before I break anything down about this, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 7 free stocks, and 5 out of those 7 free stocks could be a free Tesla share. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 2 weeks. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So at the time of recording this, we're actually very close to market close, and SPY is actually continuing to squeeze. Now, in my previous video, I showed you guys that we have quadruple witching coming out, and I stated that the odds of us crashing from where we actually were yesterday was about 35% because of the news cycle that was coming out if it did end up invoking fear. But there was about a 65 to 70% chance the market would hold the levels or even squeeze a lot more and continue to push up going into Thursday and Friday. I also mentioned to you guys that we have quadruple witching for Friday, so I expected the market to just most likely continue to push up, approaching it, because the market makers would benefit by pushing the market up, which would in turn cause a lot of puts to end up out of the money. It would cause more calls to end up in the money and would actually put us very close to max pain. It was at 399 yesterday. Now it actually decreased to 396 because a lot of puts did close and we actually saw more calls being bought. Now, puts being closed is also contributing to some degree to the market pushing up, at least to some degree. And because of that, we're seeing market makers and other institutions beginning to hedge by buying more shares. And by doing so, it's creating a lot more buying pressure and triggering a lot more algorithms to buy even more and push the market up. Then, as the market pushes up even higher, shorts get squeezed, and we're actually seeing a short squeeze perpetuate. So what's going to happen for tomorrow? Is the market going to just push up? Is the market going to crash? The answer is, in my opinion, it's extremely important to be prepared for anything, of course, right? Anything could happen depending on the news. But the most likely thing is we're going to shoot up even more tomorrow, and we're going to see SPY hit 400 to 401. That's extremely likely. It's most likely going to happen based off this very strong trend we have, because we have so much buying pressure now. We got pretty good volume. It wasn't extremely high volume, though, but it was still pretty good. The MACD is wide open, and the trend is looking a lot more bullish than bearish. It looks very, very bullish, and we're likely going to try to push up more. Quadruple witching is going to most likely lead to that, and you also have to look at this from a Wyckoff perspective. So this is looking like a massive accumulation right here. So right here, not a massive one, but this is like very small because it just happened over the last couple of days. But just compared to this, for phase A, we could see the market was pulling back. For phase A, typically during a Wyckoff accumulation schematic, this is the second version, the market would come down. We have a selling climax, a nice bounce. This is our automatic reaction taking us into phase B. Then the final big drop is the sell test in phase B. We push up, we come down for the LPS, last point of support, in phase C. A nice push up for the sign of strength, and a big rally for phase E. This whole thing is kind of like a giant cup and handle, or at least from like right here. How is this comparing to SPY? We had the first drop like this. First drop, we pushed up a little bit. This would be the automatic reaction. Then we had a bigger drop, and this would be the sell test in phase B, right? Similar to this whole phase. And then you get a rebound in phase B. You come down for the last point of support. Then you get a bigger push up for the sign of strength. That looks like this. The push up for phase B, come back down for the last point of support, continuation to the upside for the sign of strength, some consolidation. We barely saw any, not really too much. This is telling that the opening tomorrow might be a little slow, but then we might eventually get a very big push, especially as the day goes on. And then where the trend started would be around this 401 area. So this tells me that SPY was most likely going to go for 400 to 401. You could translate this into SPX. Now, what about for the triple Q? For the QQQ, this is looking very strong. Very, very strong MACD. What I'm seeing is we broke above this resistance zone. My guess was this thing would go to about like 301 to 303 or so. We actually went all the way up to 306, even higher than what I expected. I thought more of the pushing would happen for like Friday and we'd get some pushing today. Instead, we're already starting to rip to the moon. Well, I want to note that Apple, let me find Apple. Apple is at 156. It broke 155. We have gotten rejected off this area, but we're actually above the rejection zone. We're very close to it. The next important level is 157.5. If we break that, I mean, this thing does have some room to try to get to that 160 or get very close to it, right? If Apple keeps going, which I think it most likely will, the trend looks relatively strong, very good volume, at least as of right now. This could help QQQ push up and SPY in the market. And then you also have Tesla. Tesla is getting stopped at gap resistance. It wants to fill that gap so badly. It's getting very close to doing it. I think it's going to go for it maybe tomorrow. Most likely tomorrow. It's going to probably hit the very high 180s, maybe almost 190. But from a Wyckoffean standpoint, this is looking like Tesla. If it breaks 190, I mean, 195 is possible. And that would be like a really, really extreme push up. I believe we filled the gap that was up here, but 190 to 195 is very possible on Tesla now. I could see it trying to get there by tomorrow, maybe even for Monday. So I am seeing more upside, and this could help drag the triple Q up. If they keep going, this thing has a very important zone around this 309 area. You first have 309, then you have 311, then you have 313.68. So some very important levels to remember. We actually got rejected many times off this zone, so I'm going to draw a zone around here between 309 to about 313.68. But more specifically, it's around like 311. So I'm going to be looking at these levels very carefully. This is where the QQQ could actually peak, or at least see some major, major resistance. Right about here, it's about 311, so like right here, and then we also have some resistance around 309. If we break 309, we could retest this very important supply zone. Once again, we have some more room to keep going up, but remember 309 is the next major level for the triple Q. And I believe we're likely going to retest it since we did break out very, very well today. The market's about to close. We're just a couple of minutes away. After the news that came out, I told you guys Google's probably going to go for 100. We actually hit 102. Looking at the bigger time frames, I know I didn't really chart this all the way. Another important level is 103. Around 102 to 103 is very important. Then after that, you have about 104.75, then 108. Yeah, we have some big zones. We're getting very close to them on Google. I'm going to be watching about, let's see, this is about almost 104.75 between there and like this 102. This is going to be some major resistance. I do think Google's going to try to test this, maybe try to break a little higher. If we break this, then 108 is possible. IWM, I told you all, it's going to likely get a rebound. We got the rebound. Where's resistance? 176.5 to about 176. That's what we're testing. If we break this, we do have potential to try to get to about 179. Overall, it's doing pretty well. Meta broke even higher than I expected. I was looking at 200. It actually hit 204. Meta is doing very well. Very nice breakout from the past couple of weeks. I'd have to look really far back to see where the next level of resistance is. One of the zones I was looking at previously was right about here. 205 is going to be some resistance, and then we also have about 208.5. Those are some major zones. I'm just saying these from my memory because I looked at them before, but I haven't actually looked at this for a while. If this thing breaks 204, we could see 205 zone, then about all the way up here to 208. So really, really good stuff from Meta. It's pushing up very nicely. Likely has more room for tomorrow. The dollar is coming down. I did tell you guys the dollar could come down. 104.25 was the level I was talking about. We actually came all the way down to 104.2. Might continue to come down to this 103 area, just a little bit more, or very close to the very low 104s. VIX came down as I predicted. The VIX is down pretty hard. 22.64 is the next level. If it breaks below that, there's 20. This is going to be dictated by the market. Microsoft hit the zone I was looking at was 276.33. It eventually testing that. We actually had 276.5. And has the potential to go all the way up to almost 280. I think we're going to get very close to that. And with that said, looking at some others out there, let me try to find NVIDIA. I haven't spoken about this for a while. I told you all NVIDIA is looking pretty bullish. My target was about 250. This thing actually broke to 255. So that's very impressive. This thing is a monster, by the way. It's just continuing to just go and go and go. What I'm essentially seeing up next is the fact that this thing is just continuing to push and push and just destroy lots of the shorts out there. On the weekly time frame, we actually have the next important level I'm going to be watching is about 260 flat. If we could break 260, then I'm going to be looking for about 273. So some very important levels on it. But I do believe 260 is the zone to watch for. It might get stopped around there. Be very careful with NVIDIA. So anyways, I went over the majority of the charts, and I just want you all to know that we do look like we're set for more upside tomorrow. Apple might try to get that 157.5 break above that. We could get very close to 160. All right. That could help the market push. SPY is still doing very well. It's still in the 395s. We're about to close. Well done, guys. Have a great day and get ready for tomorrow. It's going to be crazy with high volatility. I also want to note that the odds favor a bullish continuation tomorrow, the squeeze to continue tomorrow, but the market's going to likely be forming a top, or at least a topping process very soon. Thank you for listening. The market to the moon because the long-term future is still incredibly bright, and peace out.